Of course, one of the things is that the Second World War didn't start overnight. Somebody didn't click their fingers on the 3rd of September 1939 and war started. There was a build-up to it. And one of the most significant aspects of the build-up for war for the people of Barrow was in 1936, and we have an illustration here. You can see flying over the chimney pots of Vickerstown the airship Hindenburg. Hindenburg, the largest flying object in the world in 1936, was on its way from Germany to New Jersey. And on its way, it took a route that took it over the centre of Barrow, very low over Barrow. People who did see it always comment that it's one of the most vivid memories that they still have to this day.
I was at infant school at the time, but obviously they'd been informed that the Hindenburg was going to come over Barrow because we were all taken out into the playground to watch it. But I don't think we realised that it was probably there taking photographs of the shipyard.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. And I can remember that for some reason, I remember that I was in Nelson Street and saw it come over. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, very, very impressive. Yeah. But they do say, of course, that it was photographing the shipyard on its journey overhead.
So it flew over twice on its way out to New Jersey and on its way back to Germany. So this is showing that the Germans were preparing, if there was going to be a war, to have accurate targeting information for the Luftwaffe. Also, of course, the people of Barrow were expecting a war. So before the war started, there was an intensive program of shelter building going on around Barrow. Public shelters, Anderson shelters being issued. There was also the distribution of gas masks. It wasn't a surprise when the war actually started.
I couldn't imagine what a war would be like. I thought it sounded frightening, really. I've heard little bits of the First World War, but I knew this would be very different.
By the lead up to the Second World War, the Barrow shipyard was producing aircraft carriers, the Illustrious and the Indomitable. Illustrious, probably the most famous British aircraft carrier of the Second World War. Barrow was also producing the vast majority of submarines for the Royal Navy. Barrow built the first submarine from the shipyard in 1886. It built the first Royal Navy submarine in 1900, and by the 1930s was still the lead yard for most submarine production. During the Second World War, over 140 vessels were produced. Over 90 vessels were submarines. And these submarines were, of course, a huge threat to Germany, the country that wanted Barrow to stop producing these vessels. And the way to stop producing vessels? Simple. You send the Luftwaffe over, the German Air Force, and try and bomb the shipyard.